Aloha! Welcome to the Live Ukulele Podcast. My name is Brad Bordessa, and in this episode, I'm talking to my mentor and friend, Uncle Keoki Kahumoku. Uncle Keoki and I go way, way back. I attended his workshop starting in 2006 or 7, and it was really kind of the moment when I realized I want to play music. This is awesome. And throughout the connections that, I got from the workshop, I've really been able to build this career in music education and some Hawaiian music performance. And, just having that jump start as a young person really made all the difference, I think, in my ability to succeed. And I owe all of that to Uncle Keoki. Recently, kind of since COVID started to taper off, we've been playing together as a group. We've got a bass player, Larry Miller, plays upright bass for us, and I play usually ukulele or some steel guitar, and Uncle Keoki plays his wonderful slack key, and we've been doing some gigs here and there, farmers markets, weddings, whatever, that kind of a thing. And it's been super wonderful because, Uncle, in my opinion, is one of the great performers in Hawaii. He chose to be here on Big Island kind of later in life. So just being out here on one of the smaller tourism islands, you end up kind of setting aside a lot of opportunities that you otherwise could take advantage of. You live on Maui or you live on Oahu. There's lots going on. There's lots of gigs. There's lots of places you can play. And being out here on Big Island, it is a little bit more secluded. There's not as much going on, not as many gigs. And so I think that by being here, we choose to sort of fly under the radar a little bit. We're not necessarily on high sessions or whatever, or joining all of these different media outlets that are convenient and easy to be a part of if you're on Oahu or if you're part of that music scene, which we are not. So we kind of do our own thing, enjoy what we can. But yeah, Uncle Keoki is an amazing performer, amazing musician, amazing person, and I'm glad I get to share some of his story here with you folks today. Before we get started, a couple of news updates. I've added a sample lesson to my left-hand technique course sales page. So if you've been curious about the left-hand technique course, this one is kind of my end-to-end massive guide to playing lead, mostly, there's some chord stuff, but playing lead and getting around the fretboard easier. The mechanics of pressing a note, a lot of people don't think about that kind of stuff. And so we start really simple with how to press a note and then move along to different navigation techniques, something that I call string transfer windows, where you can actually play a scale just by knowing the whole and half step pattern that makes it up. You can play that across the strings without ever knowing the notes or knowing your fretboard, because you have these string transfer windows and they act as interval distances across the strings. And so it's kind of a unique approach. Not many people talk about that, but it's really just a system for organizing your fingers and making sure that when you play, you're playing things as efficiently and as smartly as possible, so you don't end up backing yourself into corners. And it really goes kind of from beginner concepts, though it's probably more for beginner plus. Nice to have a little bit of an understanding what you're doing as you go back to revisit and really improve upon those techniques, all the way up through really kind of expert stuff. And we learn a handful of songs along the way. There's some really cool stuff, and the reviews have been really positive. I've been happy with hearing the people who jumped into those lessons. They've really appreciated them and felt like they learned a lot and got a lot out of it. So if you want to check it out, if you're so inclined, you can go to liveukulele.com/store, click on the left-hand technique video course, and then there'll be an email form where you can put your email in and sign up to get that free sample lesson. It's about the chromatic scale, which I think is often overlooked and a very important part of playing the ukulele. If you can't finger the chromatic scale correctly, there's not much else you're going to be able to do without that framework of that simple shifting and navigation. So I encourage you to check it out. And even if you don't want to check out the rest of the lessons, that is there for you to enjoy for free. I am also in the process of getting ukulele chord shapes back into print. I know that I have not really pushed the print edition very hard over the past number of years, just because it was print on demand and I never felt a super connection to it, and the ebooks are just so much easier. Honestly, there's more profit in it for me to sell an ebook, but I've come to realize that the books are valuable, especially a reference book like that. And so I have reworked the contents into the format that it needs to be to go to print. I've been working my way through the proofs. I thought I had the last one last week came in, but I found a couple goobers that I needed to fix. So hopefully the final one is on its way to me. And that will be coming down the pipes. Keep an eye out for that. I'm planning on fulfilling the orders myself. So it's going to be, kind of small kind of business sort of time frame. So if you want it right away, you should not order it from Amazon because it's not on Amazon. But keep an eye out for that. It's the same great stuff that is in the ebook, but kind of reformatted and a little bit updated to be the best it's ever been, and hopefully the most beautiful it's ever been. And very soon you'll be able to get a physical copy to hold in your hand. If you're not on my newsletter list, sign up so you don't miss out on the announcement for that and other similar kinds of things. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to the conversation I had with Uncle Keoki here in my bedroom a couple days ago.
Strolling along on the shores of Kealia, watching the waves, the rolling sands that kiss the shore. And now my heart will beat forevermore, dear, and your love that has gone away will come back to me. Eleana I ka pili kai o ke alia, e mai ka ua la e pili, ke kau mai I luna o ka mahina, ka ua e ike I ka nani kai o ke alia. Eleana I ka pili kai o ke alia, e mai ka ua la e pili, ke kau mai luna o ka mahina, ka ua ike I ka nani kai o ke alia, ka ua ike I ka nani kai o ke alia. Yeah, Ke Alia by Tutu Koko'o.
And so Uncle George spent a lot of time in Kealia. Did you grow up there?
Actually, I spent most of my teenage years picking coffee, raising pigs, We had taro in the field, in the coffee fields, and it was a lot of, mostly, we did a lot of farm work early mornings. And then about 10 o'clock, there was time to cut off. My dad was kind of a stickler for work to, it gets hot and then take a break.
Yeah.
And then about 10 o'clock was for us was brunch or, lunch, breakfast, lunch. And then we go and gather the fruits and vegetables from the garden and gather together for a meal. And then we go down to the beach. I remember those days spending down at Napopo with my cousins after picking coffee, in the morning or something like that. We'd go and spend our days at Napopo or Midoke'e and go out boogie boarding, nice. Surfing. And also got a chance to learn from my cousins, my older cousins, how to spearfish and dive. And actually, I learned how to surf before I learned how to swim. I didn't realize that you had to learn how to swim first, I kind of learned it opposite, but that's all right. I just hung on to that board as tight as I could. And back days, we didn't have the leash like you have nowadays, kind of like a rubberized leash. Before it was just a nylon rope, tie it to your leg and hope for the best,
Pull your foot right off.
So those are the days. Yeah. I grew up all the way through I was till I was 19. We lived in Kealia, and then at about 20, 21 years old, I moved to the island of Maui because actually it was kind of a blessing in disguise. My dad actually had an accident farming, and which caused him to, the doctor said he had to take a break from farming for a while because it was kind of dangerous. He had an aneurysm. And this was right around the time, I think it was 1990, 91 or something like that. The hotel, the Mauna Kea Beach Hotel, had just closed down for renovations. And the Westin Maui in Ka'anapali asked if we were still playing Hawaiian music. And my dad said, yeah, we could do that and go give up farming and play music, which was kind of got to weigh it out. Slop pigs or strum a guitar. And we actually, funny enough, when we moved to Maui, we couldn't get away from farming. For some reason, we decided to go visit other pig farms and then got into a little bit of pig farming in Oluwalu with some farmers on Maui. And we're still playing music at night. Then during the day, we're living in the hotel for the first 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, living in the hotel.
So you just had a permanent room.
Yeah, had a permanent room. Well, they'd make us check out every week, and then we come back to the Big Island, take care of the business, whatever was still going on on the Big Island, and then flying back and forth. And that went on for about 2 years. And then finally I decided it's better to just move the whole family over to Maui. And that's where I started teaching at Kinke Kaulike High School and Haleakala Waldorf School. And I met all these wonderful teachers that helped me develop myself as a musician and also as a teacher. Because I always felt that I was mostly in the beginning, I was a real student of the craft, especially for ukulele and slacky. I was always learning because that's the way I was thrown into this whole thing was sit down, shut up, and don't ask questions and just follow, and that was a tough one for me, really, in the beginning.
Just learning in that style?
Yeah, learning that style was because I'm what they call dyslexic. So I see everything backwards. So I had to learn how to follow my dad by watching his fingers, but then I had to transpose it backwards in my mind so that I could follow along and do that. But at the same time, I was playing slacky ukulele. I was playing in this weird tuning that my dad said, okay, you just play like this. And it was in fact, it wasn't even slacking the ukulele. It was tuning it up a half step. I was playing a baritone ukulele, and I was playing, instead of D, I was playing it in D sharp or E flat. And then my dad would tune his slacky guitar to E flat major, and I was like, and to follow along is just like impossible. You don't follow the same chords, you know what I mean? So as far as the fingering was concerned, following the shapes, that's how I learned. I learned by watching other people's fingers and following by shapes, and then matching the shapes to what I'm hearing. So then that kind of made sense to me. Then I always, in fact, some of the best people that I like to watch play, because they use a lot of weird fingering shapes, was like Kelly Boy de Lima, from Kapena, and also Uncle Herb Ota Sr., Ota-san, Herb Jr. too. He's got some funky ways of holding his fingers. Their fingering is different, and it made me have to learn how to follow chords. And so for me, I played in only one slacky tuning. Everything for me was actually played in for the first 2 or 3 years when I was first playing guitar was in that E flat tuning, because I just played what my dad played. So I followed him, and I tuned all my guitars, not knowing that there was a standard tuning that you tune to. I tuned all my guitars to E flat and in slack key, and then eventually realized that, hey, I'm not gonna be able to do this for quite long. But the nice thing about it was playing in E flat and singing in E flat really saved my voice over the years, because I realized that I wasn't straining as much, for certain chords that I was singing.
And so at what point did you transition to like more standard tunings that people could follow when you were teaching?
It probably wasn't till like about 20 years into it. It was really like that. Because I think about it now, it's been about 35 years that I've been playing music, and it's not really that long. I still consider myself a intermediate beginner as far as like ukulele is concerned, because I'm not much of a lead picker or play melody or things like that. I'm mostly a strummer. And for the picking that I do for slack key guitar, I'm still playing in slack key, but I'm playing in an open F tuning instead of an E flat tuning now. And it makes it a little bit easier for me, because I learned in the beginning of the slack key playing that you could use a capo, which really helped me to be able to improvise and play with other people. And so as far as like learning for myself, a lot of it is just mimicking. I do a lot of mimicking and repetitive things that I saw that other musicians did. And then the stuff that I like, I use. And the stuff that I don't like, well, you kind of just keep it on the side for one of those things. It's a tool.
Right.
And I've just been enjoying the ride, because I've had a lot of good luck with the musicians. I went into farming too for a while with my dad, and then off on my own. At one time, I was doing a pig hunting business, catching wild pigs and also deer on the island of Maui, and that was fun while it lasted. But still, the music was what really kept us afloat, so that I could raise a family, send my kids to school and be able to do all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, the music has been a blessing for me in my life. I could have done other things. I could have been if you followed my dad's stories, I could have been a professional car washer today. And I would do a damn good job doing it too. So do the best that I can. That's all we're taught to do,
Yeah.
Do the best that we can with the tools that's given to you and just keep going. Sometimes life throws you curveballs and you just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you talk about learning everything from mimicking. We both have experience teaching kind of more Western style people from the mainland who come and are excited about learning Hawaiian style ukulele. But it seems like a lot of people have a hard time getting it and getting that Hawaiian sound. And it seems like a lot of that has to do with the way that you learn to play and that just like copycat Hawaiian style.
Yeah.
What do you think makes somebody sound like a Hawaiian style player? Where does that sound come from?
Okay, so basically the sound that I'm trying to recreate, again, by mimicking, a lot of it comes to the way that you're approaching the fretboard. Number one is your left hand. I separate it into two separate things, the left hand and the right hand. And my left hand is basically where I learn all my different positions for chords up and down the fretboard, learning different variations of the chord. And then with the right hand is where I come in with either a picking with the thumb, the index, or my middle finger. I've kind of lost, over the years, I've lost using the ring finger and the pinky finger just because I had an accident.
Yeah, I remember when you cut
so
your hands.
I actually severed the tendons in my fingers. So I can't actually, they don't bend as normal as they used to. So what I did was I just had to kind of figure out a way. So the strumming and the picking that I do now is a combination of flicking flies and rolling hanabaras. That's basically the way that I look at it. So I both approach the strings at doing arpeggiated pickings. They call about doing certain types of picking patterns, or pick and a strum, which mostly for slack key, that's basically, if you're listening for something steady, that's what you're listening for, a basic bass and a strum, And when I try to practice it and just play it, I always screw it up. It's always like that. It's just one of those things. And what happens is you get better as you start playing songs. That's just the way it is for me. I learned that a lot of times is if you can get through the whole song without making a mistake, then you're making progress.
Yeah.
That's for me. That's just how I feel like sometimes. And a lot of times I'll make progress mostly when I'm not thinking about it.
Yeah.
As soon as I start thinking about it, I got something else on my mind. That's when I make a mistake, and then I gotta redo it over again.
Yeah.
Kind of like those things like one example is when I did my first recordings with before I recorded with my dad, I did some recordings with Herb Ota Jr. And with Herb was all off the cuff, and we went and did I think like the first night in the studio we did 6 songs.
Wow.
We cracked them out, and it was all because we were just in the flow. It was something about we went to go eat Japanese food first. We was feeling good. Everything was just like right. I had shrimp chips, I had my arare, I had my Coca-Cola, whatever it was that made it what it was. And then the next day we came back to the studio and somebody had recorded over all of our tracks.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. It was so crazy. And it was just one of those things. It's like we had done the best performance we felt of our career because we got it down recorded.
Wow. Was that on tape still?
It was on the tape. But what happened was some rock and roll band had come in and thought that their tapes was ours, and there was a 2-inch tape, and they recorded over all of our stuff, all this techno drum stuff.
Wow, just gone.
And it was like, oh, our heart was so sore. It was like, and we knew it deep down inside. We knew that was some of the best stuff that we had ever put out. So we went in, and the next day it was good, but wasn't the same. It's just like the feeling wasn't the same. And even like our engineer Charlie Lucella, he said, it was different. The first one was like magical, and I was like, yeah, it really did. And then, but what can you do?
Yeah,
it's gone. It's part of history. And so we just recorded them over, and then we did I think 5 more songs. The next recording, and took us that was in the beginning when we were just off the cuff, and we knew we had a song list, and we just came in prepared. No practice in the studio. That's one thing. Tell everybody, don't use that time, man. Time is precious when you're in the studio, especially if you're in one of those high-end studios, which charge you an arm and a leg to be there. So you got to make sure that you're on top of it. Go in, do your thing, and then do the best that you can, and try not to overplay it too, because sometimes you overdo it and you just end up killing yourself, as far as like stress out. And for me it was like, okay, next one, let's go. And I try to do that right now I'm working on some other projects on the side with this guy that's really enthusiastic about Hawaiian music, and he wants to try and record stuff. And I'm like, geez, brother, you got to learn how to use your equipment first before you go and start doing all this stuff. And he's learning as we're going along, and it's like, okay, you want to do it like this? Let's do it like this then. So it's fun for me, but I don't know. It's like, it reminds me of like starting from the beginning all over again. And it's okay. I don't mind doing that. If the person is like willing to just go through it, but at the same time, I don't want him to be all stressing out about it either. That's the whole thing about music. There shouldn't be any kind of stress when you're doing music. You know what I mean? Music is supposed to be relaxing and inviting, not only for you but for the people out there.
Yeah,
because that's what they come, and we get people that come to see us all the time, repetitive. They don't always come up and say hello and all of that, but I see them out there, and they're always coming to check up on us. And we're at the farmers market, or we're at the parties, or certain venues and stuff like that. We always get visitors that are coming, so I always try to give my best, what I can. Sometimes the songs change too. Sometimes I'm getting older, so the verses change. I make up my own verses as we go along, and they calamai for those of you that are sticklers for that. I was like, oh, I can't help it. It's part of that artist improvisation. That's what we're doing. We're doing a little bit of improvisation there. But we're always having fun.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
So obviously you spent a ton of time playing with your dad and you learned a lot from him, but what is kind of your lineage and connection to Hawaiian music, like kind of going beyond that? Like, who did you listen to find inspiration? Because you have a lot of influences from your dad, but you also you have your own feel and approach to Hawaiian music.
The most that I spent time with learning from as a teacher was probably my Uncle Moses. And he played slacky with a style that is few and far in between would play. So he played a flamenco rock and roll style, which kind of and blues style, which caught the ear and attention of many musicians over the years. And he played with so many different musicians that were influenced by my Uncle Moses. But I was always growing up around, the sound of Hui ʻOhana, Eddie Kamai and the Sons of Hawaii, Uncle Gabby Pahinui.
So you were listening to records and
I was listening to records mostly because that's what we had, and then the other stuff that was going on was, we was listening to the 70s and 80s. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, which unfortunately had a lot of disco in there in between. So, I listened to that and some Michael Jackson along the way, and Stevie Wonder. A lot of music came through my household because my mom used to like to sing too. But my mom was also a singer. She was a soprano in the choir for Kamehameha Schools. And my dad was in the choir too for Kamehameha Schools. Class of 69, both of them. Also with a whole bunch of other musicians that came out of that time era. Class of 67, 68, 69 were all like Casimiro Brothers and Keola, Kapono Beamer. So I was kind of lucky that I was exposed to that kind of music. And then myself, I went to Kamehameha Schools in the early 80s. So 1983, I was there for 7th grade, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. And then my 11th grade year, I took a break and went up to Berkeley High School. And because my mom was going to college up there and to study stenography. And so I was up there and lived right around near Oakland and Berkeley and had fun. Definitely learned a lot. Got some street smarts from being in the city there. And then came back home and finished school on Maui, of all places, with my uncle. And I was just kolohe during those times. During my high school years, I was really kolohe. So had to put the reins on me there. So I finally ended up getting my diploma from the island of Maui via summer school, Konawaina High School. And figure that one out for yourself out there.
Wow. So were you like listening to records, or how were you learning songs? Was it just all coming down from your dad and your uncle?
No, to be honest with you, I didn't start until I was 19.
Playing any music?
I didn't start playing till I was 19. And it was because I didn't like playing music in the beginning because I was forced to, at parties and stuff like that. And when you're a kid, you get forced to doing things. You don't want to do it. But then what I started seeing was that my other cousins started to play. And they were playing and they were getting really good. Like my Uncle Moses' sons, they both can play, but they don't realize the talent that they have. And they kind of just don't play anymore.
Huh.
And out of all the cousins, I think I'm the only one that's continued to play at least slacky guitar. I think sometimes they play ukulele once in a while. But when I think about it, it's like, geez, I was really lucky that my uncle took the time to sit me down, and actually even my dad, because he didn't have a lot of time. When you're farming and you're traveling and you're doing all kinds of stuff, and you're a musician, There's no time to be learning. It's time to be playing, you know? So, like I said, it wasn't until I was 19, and then I got my first professional job at the age of 20. And that was where I learned my first song. My first song was 5'2", Eyes Are Blue, Coochie 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 Coo. Has anybody seen that girl? And I played that song 20 different versions a night. And people knew it. And it sucked. I sucked. I really, in the beginning, I had a hard time believing that I was a musician.
Well,
And,
just 1 year in, that's kind of soon. I mean, for most people.
well, I had to. It was like this. My dad said, "Show up. Your uncle quit."
Oh.
And I was like, "What do you mean, uncle quit? So what does that have to do with me? Just because he quit doesn't mean I have to come and start plays." It's either you or your cousins. And I'm like, and I said, "Well, do I get paid?" And he said, "Yeah, you get paid, and plus you get to eat all you can eat seafood and prime rib buffet." And I was like, "Oh, shucks, man.
Sold.
All you can eat seafood prime rib buffet." And that was at the Mauna Kea Beach, and they had this the clam bake, they called it. And it's like a fabulous clam bake with prime rib and crab and lobster. They had Maine lobster and sashimi and poke and all those great things. So I got sucker punched into it for sure. And then I played, and then I had to, and then my dad wouldn't show up to some of the gigs. Then I have to play with my cousins, and my cousins were a lot better than me. They were like really, really good musicians. Marcus Wong Yuen, Toy Wong Yuen. In fact, those are the two guys that got me started in playing professional music. Was the Wong Yuen brothers, and they showed me the ropes, man, around how to play, how to act. You know, when you're on stage, you're not fucking around. You're there for the music, to be a musician and to do the best that you can as a musician. That's the kind of stuff that they would tell us. You know, you're not there for fuck around, and you're not there for play music that you like hear. You there to play the music that they want to hear. So if they like hear Tiny Bubbles, fucking bite the bullet, excuse my language, but you bite the bullet and you play the song, because they're the ones that they come back every year and they want to hear that song. That's like whatever it is, a Hawaiian wedding song. The reason why you do it is because you don't realize, but they support you. These people that come back every year. And just talking about it, I miss them. I miss a lot of these guys, because they was the ones that would encourage me to keep playing. Man, there was a time in my life I just didn't want to play anymore, because I got so frustrated, and the frustration was within me. And I knew that if I wanted to continue to do music, it had to be for a better reason. And it wasn't for me, but it was for the reason why people come. Because they love Hawaii so much that they come every year to spend their time. And I had some roadies, I call them. They would come and follow us for 3 months out of the whole year, every gig. And I missed them because they holla already. They're passed away. But every time I get asked that question, you know, when you first started, I remember, because it was hard for me. And my dad didn't make it easy, man. He made me work for it. And for those of you out there that's struggling and you feel like you have to work for it, keep working at it. Don't give up. Because the music is important. It's important. And always strive to do better. Always strive to do better. If you can, you can. If you cannot, well, try again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to shout out to the Achilles family. Yeah. If it wasn't for them, that family, the Achilles from Napa Valley, they came out for 10 years of my music career, every year, to spend the summer. 3 months out of the year, they would stay here. And they would make me play damn hukilao, freaking Tiny Bubbles, Ho'okahi Sunday Afternoon, all those kind of hapahaoli songs. And now nobody requests those songs. So it make me sad when I think about them. And brings me joy too sometimes when you just bust them out and you're not worried about anything else. So, yeah, sorry, a little bit teary-eyed over here, you guys.
Oh, it's all good.
But
that's the food for the soul. You know, we share the music, and I mean, you taught me that. You share the music, but it's a reciprocal thing. You know, we get as much as we give from the people who enjoy the music so much. Yeah.
It was good fun this weekend too. Thanks, Brad, for coming out for my daughter's wedding.
Oh, yeah.
It was really good to share the music and see my dad. And my dad sure has a funny choice of songs for weddings.
Oh, my gosh.
He chose my hunting dog song of all songs to play for me and my daughter coming up. But that's my daughter said, I told Grandpa he can play any song he wants, but I didn't think he was going to choose that song. So it's like, oh my goodness.
She'll remember that forever, though.
For sure. I'll forever remember it.
Where's that black dog? Where's that black dog? The one that caught me, that razorback hog. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, stopped it in its tracks. That Pua'a is a dead boy now. Said, now where is that black dog? Where is that black dog? One that caught me, that razorback hog. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, stopped it in its tracks. And Pua'a is a dead boy now. I said, we're going up to Hualalai. Have you ever seen a more beautiful sky? I don't know. Don't know. Oh, if you want some island, maybe the place to go. Where's that brown dog? Where's that brown dog? The one that got cut by the razorback hog. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, if you baby, bend down now. brown dog, the one that got cut by the razorback hog. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Oh, spill his down out. That dog is a hurting dog now. Well, he's part pit bull, he's got some lamb. Never had a better dog that could grab, I know. I know. Smoke meat in my bowl.
Most people wouldn't consider that a wedding song.
No, that's not a winning song, but Uncle George for you.
Awesome. You want to play a song on the ukulele?
Ken.
Mena pua alona ona, kuhome I aloha ia. Pua mana, kuhome I lahaina. Mena pua alona ona, kuhome I aloha ia. O kaniu kukila kila e nape nape mali e kuhome I kaulu o kaniu kukila kila e nape nape mali e O me nani, o me ka e kai, ke konane akamaina I ke kai Havana mana. O me nani, o me ka e kai, ke konane akamaina I ke kai Havana mana. Haina ia mai ka puana, kuhome I lahaina I pia me ka hau oli.
Awesome.
Yeah, for the folks from Lahaina, Maui.
Well, thanks so much for coming
ʻOhana.
and telling your story, Uncle.
Thank you.
I just want to say really quick for everybody out there listening that, you know, Uncle Keoki is really the reason that I'm probably still playing music. He really gave
right
context
on,
to all my practice and everything that I was trying to do, and you know, just having that opportunity to learn from so many amazing musicians, yourself included, and then to have kind of come full circle and get to play with you is really a treat. And I really am enjoying all the music that we get to make and the people we get to entertain and share that out there, because you really have that special sound.
Thank you so much, Brad.
Yeah.
We love you and your whole family.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for thinking about me and allowing me to share my story.
Yeah, of course.
And maybe we'll get together again sometime and talk story a little bit more.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Not so teary-eyed.
No. It's all good.
It's all good. Thank you for letting me share. Mahalo.
So there's a lot to parse there. Really a great opportunity to hear some of those stories and some of the inspiration and background for, what makes Hawaiian music Hawaiian. What captures that feeling, what informs that feeling that people are always asking about. And most of it is just hard work. Grinding out those hours, playing music, living life, farming, fishing, hunting, whatever your bag is. To me, that is what makes Hawaiian music Hawaiian. So, mahalo to Uncle Keoki once again for joining me for the conversation. Right afterwards, we went down into Honoka'a town and we played at the Peace Day Fest, something that Honoka'a has been doing since, I think Miles Okumura said it was like 2005 or something like that. Maybe even earlier, but it's been happening for a long time. But Honoka'a is the only town that has like an officially recognized Peace Day every year. And so we went down to spread some peaceful vibes and share some Hawaiian music with the folks who were down there. It's a great time. And, it's always a treat to get to play with Uncle and share Hawaiian music with the folks that just really enjoy it. It's a different sort of experience playing that honest Hawaiian music from playing singer-songwriter or rock and roll or whatever. Those musics are good for the soul too as the players. But I think that Hawaiian music is kind of a more special experience for the listener because it's harder to come by. It's more rare to hear live Hawaiian music, especially live Hawaiian music that's like really authentic, like Uncle Keoki brings. And it just comes from such a heartfelt place. People's enthusiasm and their love for that music is just really, really within them. And so going out and playing and seeing how people really appreciate that and see the joy on their faces and see them tapping their foot. And, a lot of it's old timers who grew up with that music and they know those songs and they haven't heard them for 10 years or 20 years or however long it's been since, a Hawaiian act came through town, which is not often. Honoka'a is way out. There's, not much reason for big Hawaiian acts to come through. And so there's not much going on. And so to hear those songs it's really a special thing to be able to go out in the community, share those songs, and to experience the joy that they bring to people. Once again, thank you for tuning in. The Live Ukulele podcast is published on the first and third Saturdays of every month. We're getting towards the end of the season. The season ends. I take November and December off from doing podcast stuff, kind of recollect myself. So we're getting to be the last couple episodes. In fact, this might be the second to last episode. So that's good. I should try and find something that's a real banger for the last one. Gonna be hard to top Uncle's conversation though. That was good fun. Anyways, catch you on the flip. Leave a review of the podcast if you like what you hear. Sign up for my newsletter, all that good stuff. I would love to kind of have you in the circle and correspond with you, whatever you're inspired to reach out and share. All my best. Hui ho.